Fires a long one.
Oh,
Nothing but net. Oh, my goodness. Didn't see that coming. I'm diddly dee.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of All Nat, brought to you by OTS. I am your host, Natalie, but most people call me Nat. And we're back again with the fellas from Golden State Warriors Subreddit Twitter account. Hopefully you tuned into the last episode. If you did not, you should definitely check it out. We talked about so much. The Golden State Warriors last few games, COVID, Steph's rotation, the breaking the record, Memphis Grizzlies, who they're going to be matching up with, or actually who they recently played, all of that and much more. So you should definitely check it out. Enjoy that conversation and then check out this conversation we're about to have now. We're going to focus on their Christmas game coming up, which is supposed to be the highlight of the week, but with the way COVID is coming down around the league, I don't know. So if you didn't tune into the last episode, definitely catch it. But let me just reintroduce my guests. I have Meds with me, and I also have Perks. And again, they are the men behind Golden State Warriors Subreddit, the Twitter account. You should follow them. If you're not, you're missing out. So definitely do that. All right, guys, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. So Christmas Day games, wondering what that is going to look like around the league. You have some of the Christmas teams and protocols. The Nets are the one that's coming to mind. You have Kevin Durant in protocols. You have not Russell Westbrook. You have Kyrie, who was trying to get back and went into protocol.
It didn't even last like 24 hours. It's ridiculous.
Dude, I've been having to bite my tongue on that, because we share this Twitter account. And so our rule on the subreddit is that generally we like to give people as much room to discuss basketball as possible, but we do limit it specifically to Warriors content.
Okay.
It's we don't let people post in speculation about Kyrie as spicy as it would be, because it has not a lot to do with the Golden State Warriors.
Right.
But I will say, I'm having a hard time not letting my opinions fly straight on the Golden State Warrior Reddit or the Twitter handle. I got a lot of feelings about Kyrie Irving's silliness that I'm not putting out there, but
Okay.
It makes me laugh. It does make me laugh.
Well, I don't know if those rules apply to when you are guest appearing on the podcast, but if you'd like to let some of that out, you're welcome to.
Perks will have to reel me in because I'm tarnishing our brand.
I mean, I don't want to laugh because at the end of the day, it's still COVID, and I don't know if he's having any symptoms or side effects or anything like that. But it's just crazy because he had to get 5 successive negative tests for him to even come back, and I don't know how many he had, but he got a test or two, and he tested positive.
He's going to be furiously swabbing like LeBron.
Yeah. So I mean. They ended up, caving because they're down so many guys that they were willing to let him come back and only play road games, and then they don't even get him back. So I mean, they just had a number of their games canceled.
Oh man.
Based on the timeline right now, if they really have to wait it out 10 days, none of those guys are going to be there for Christmas Day. So who are the Nets supposed to play on Christmas Day?
The Lakers.
Was it the Nets versus Lakers?
Yep.
Yeah.
Brooklyn
think
Lakers,
it's
8 p.m.
The Lakers also are missing
I know Anthony Davis. What do you guys think about Anthony Davis this year?
I mean,
Anthony, go for it.
all
Perks,
Lakers
man.
fans talking about trading.
Yeah. Anthony Davis is not that dude, in my opinion. And this is not maybe the most popular take. I don't think Anthony Davis is a superstar. I think that Anthony Davis is the best role player in the NBA. That's my opinion.
Wow.
Have you always thought that?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he can carry a team. I just don't believe that. I think that you put him next to a superstar and they can win a title, but I don't think he's got that standalone carry killer mentality. I just don't believe. I don't. I might be wrong.
You think it's a mentality thing and not an ability thing?
Probably a little of each. I don't know. You saw Cat telling him he was too small, right?
Yeah,
Did you
but
see that?
it's kind of ironic that Cat of all people is telling him that
Yeah.
he's also not perceived to be,
I know. I mean, our boy Wiggs put him on a couple posters.
yeah. I mean, people were like, "You letting soft ass Cat do this to you?" Like
I
that's
mean,
not my
Wig
word.
should have told Cat he was too small. That would have been a take, like mild mannered Wiggins gesturing that Cat's too small. That would have been really funny.
That
would've
clip
been
was
for
so
that.
hilarious
trash
because his
talk as well.
teammates were even on the sidelines, like,
Yep.
like, wow. And then when he like just kind of bodied LeBron to the ground, did you see that? And like the way LeBron turned around, was just looking at him from the floor. I'm like, yo, these guys are sucking LeBron James. This is crazy.
Did he get him though, or was LeBron fishing for a call? Like, did he bump into him and fall over on purpose? I tried watching it a couple
I don't
times, but
know,
it
but
happened so quick.
It looked reckless, man. It looked crazy.
Yeah. It's like when you try and set up to take the charge and you end up getting posterized. You're like, oh man, I should have just made a business decision and cleared out.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that game was like just comedy, and like the Lakers fans during that game, their tweets were just hilarious, and of course, Warriors fans were just loving all of it in their misery. So
I saw a great Kent Bazemore tweet.
oh my
what did
God.
he say?
I don't remember who it was, but basically, like they said, I've completely given up on Kent Bazemore.
Kent Bazemore does his best cheering from the Golden State bench, in my opinion.
I don't know what that Christmas Day game is going to look like. And, I'm actually, let me just pull up the whole slate right now. Who knows who the Warriors are going to have, just we're hoping that we don't get too many more announcements of other players going into COVID protocols. But I mean, what a mess this is turning into for the NBA. And I actually don't feel that bad for them because I feel like they completely dropped the ball with respect to all of this COVID stuff. They pushed and urged players to get vaccinated and then basically said, we're not going to test anymore. We're not going to require you guys to wear masks. We're not going to implement any social distancing protocols. And now look, like COVID is rampant throughout the league. So, and like, look, I don't want to put all the responsibility on the NBA because I think we have to treat NBA players like adults, and like they were also just really carefree with it, including the Warriors. I mean, they knew that the Nets were in protocols, and then like I get it, it was Steph's big night and they were celebrating, but Kevin Durant came over and just like hung out with them.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, that's crazy to me. And you're playing the Knicks, who have multiple players in protocols, and you're hugging guys after games. I mean, just reckless behavior all around. So nonetheless, the COVID cycle is going to hit the team, or is hitting the team. So, Christmas Day, you have Hawks versus Knicks. Didn't Trae Young just go into protocols?
I think I did see that. Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, the Knicks have so many guys in right now, but they've been in for a while. So maybe some of their guys will be coming out. They're not having the greatest season anyway. So I don't know how much people are going to be looking for that game. I know the story behind it is Trae Young, but Trae may not even be playing. So
yeah.
Then you have Bucks. You have Bucks and Celtics. Giannis is out in protocols. And didn't Middleton have a hyperextended knee? Is he even? How long does that keep you out for?
I don't know. I mean, it depends who you are, right? Giannis came back one day later and won the damn finals. So
did y'all see that Bucks lineup from like yesterday? It was like Javonte Green, Jordan Nwora, DeMarcus Cousins, good old Boogie.
Yeah, they're just filling out a roster.
Yeah, just like a bunch of like the end of their bench essentially, like starting. It's crazy.
It feels reckless, man. Like, or even bringing in these G League guys, it feels reckless because like it's not just. I mean, first of all, like the quality of the game is compromised because they're not starting NBA players across the board. And I don't know, like it's different for some of us that are a little deeper into it because like we like seeing these guys get play.
Yeah.
But it's like the fans, the casual fans that are going to stadiums, like there's an expectation of seeing a certain product, and that's not going to be delivered. And then you've got these guys flying all over the United States in confined spaces, and they're getting sick, right? Or whatever that is. They're testing positive, whether they have symptoms or not. And it's a bigger issue than just them testing positive and feeling fine. What I think that we need to recognize is that these players are all vaccinated for the most part. And so if they are asymptomatic, vaccination protection is playing a role in that. But as they hop around and go from city to city and state to state, they are bringing with them viral load, and they are around people who may not be vaccinated, whether by choice. And we have a responsibility of protecting, the Kyries that don't want the vaccine, or the children that are under 5 that can't be vaccinated yet, or medically fragile people. It's hugely important. And so it feels irresponsible, in my opinion. I think they need to pause across the board and give it 2 weeks or something like that.
But it's clear they're not going to. I mean, did you see what the NFL just announced earlier today?
Yeah, like, we're just not going to test anymore.
And there, there was reporting that the NBA was considering that too.
That's wild to me.
And I was like, yeah, you guys keep banking on them shutting down. They're not going to do that. And so, yeah, I mean, looking at the rest of the slate of games, every game looks like it will be impacted, except for right now, maybe Mavs, Jazz. Celtics, Bucks, you have the Bucks, and then like Josh Richardson just went into protocols today.
I think the Celtics have like 8 available players or something.
Yeah, Jabari Parker went into protocols the other day, right? And like, I mean, right now they have their stars, but God forbid, like Tatum or Brown goes into protocols. The Suns seem so far to have evaded it. So who knows, right? If they'll be fully healthy, but like we started to get hit with it. And then, what's going on with the Nets and Lakers. So, yeah, I mean, Mavericks and Jazz right now appear. I don't know if the Mavs have anyone in protocols. I don't think the Jazz do. So I don't know what Christmas Day is going to look like, but it's not turning out to be like one of those days. So right now, as we sit here recording, this is Sunday, so it's several days before the holidays. But assuming we have the squad as is, what is that going to look like versus the Phoenix Suns, missing 2 of our top scorers and Devin Booker being back for the Suns?
It's not good.
The Suns are up 30 right now on the Hornets. So
yeah, there's smoke. There's smoke in the Hornets
as
right
we're recording.
now.
Yeah, they're up 30.
Joy. Yeah.
I mean, the Suns are
How is
a
Booker
great
looking?
basketball
Is
team.
he playing well?
Who?
Let me pull
Booker?
up the stats real quick.
Booker has 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. I don't know. You don't see what the splits are.
I mean, the
I'm
Suns
so
are great
pissed.
top to bottom. Like,
They're super deep.
They are. I'm really pissed that we punted that freaking game. Like, I really am against
The Raptors
Toronto.
game.
I mean, I know that the Suns will have to lose at some point, but like, I don't want to just give them. I don't want to do give me's.
For sure. I don't know. I mean, I see where your head's at regarding that. I wonder if there's information that we're not privy to about like the frequency of testing or when they would have run tests. So like Poole popped up positive, right? And then Wiggins came up today. So like if they had already elected that they weren't going to play Steph and Draymond and Wiggins and all that, and they flew them home, they may have just not even swabbed them heading into Canada. So like presumably these guys, if they had even gone up to Canada, they may have all just swabbed positive before they even made it to the stadium. So they may have flown them home knowing that they were all positive, or just being like in the dark about it and assuming that it was a possibility. It's like, well, let's get a little time and we'll see. And then now Wiggs is up. The fact that Wiggins tested positive and we haven't heard anything else about anyone else makes me feel like, well, it's not like they're all submitting tests at random intervals. Like they all have to submit them on a timeline. So hearing that Wiggs is in protocol and these other guys aren't today makes me feel, well, maybe there's a shot. Maybe they got back to California and submitted negative tests, so there's nothing to report. and like wrap these dudes in bubble wrap and don't let them go anywhere until it's game time, right? Because they're doing daily testing now.
Which is
Is
why
my
I don't want to
understanding.
play the Kings. I don't want to. I don't want that
Yeah.
team anywhere near us.
Yeah.
California is a good place to be if you're trying to avoid COVID. California is doing okay, thankfully. We're pretty strict with like the public health department, or
Okay.
I don't know what it's like out there where you're at, but here in the Bay, like everyone's wearing masks everywhere you go. Like, and you can't walk into a store without a mask. You'll get chewed or kicked out.
Well, I'm in New York, so we have those mandates here. But at the end of the day, I mean, the numbers are on the rise. I mean, just there was like a meme or something I saw today. It was like City MD right now, which is like a really popular urgent care here. And like the line just insane around the corner for people like going to get tested. It's pretty much madness. So
It's not that way. It's not that way in the Bay right now.
okay.
Right now, it's not that way, thankfully. So I'm hopeful geographically getting the team home will insulate them in some fashion.
Well, when COVID originally started, New York was one of the first places that got hit, and we had to hear all of
Yep.
y'all talking shit about my state, like, oh yeah, New Yorkers, da 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 da. But it just made its way to everywhere else eventually. So, look, I'm really hoping no more people come down, or at least it's not the more critical people to the team. But we'll see. And I mean, I guess there's always a chance too that like maybe Andrew or Poole could come out early if it happens to be like a false positive, like the way Russell Westbrook did or LeBron. So
I think they need 2 negative tests in 24 hours. Was what I saw in the protocols.
yeah.
So that's like a quick little side jog on that. Is that like when LeBron tested positive, like the news came out like LeBron has now submitted 8 negative tests.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, so how many positives were cooked in there? Because there's no policy that says you got to submit 8 consecutive negative tests. Like he was like furiously swabbing his nose, getting these tests done until he got 2 negative ones in a row. It's kind of like, look, if you've got a positive and then you keep reswabbing and another positive shows up, like at some point they need to cut you off and be like, go home for 14 days, bro. Like,
Do you think that's what he did?
Well, what else can it be? Like, how are they going to say, hey, he submitted 8 negative tests? Why would you swab someone that many times if they didn't have more than one positive one cooked in there? Like, it's crazy. No one would keep swabbing and submitting tests if every single one was clean over and over and over. You'd stop after 2 and you'd be out of protocol, right?
Oh, so you think there were shenanigans with him?
Oh, 100%. There must have been. Like, give me any scenario in which LeBron had one positive test that was false and then proceeded to swab himself 8 more times. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, were they just swabbing shallower and shallower until like I don't know. I was not there, but I'm going to take his own tweet and it smells like a bunch of fish emojis to me.
Fascinating. I mean, I know, I played around a little bit and said, I alluded to some things going on, but I was like, look, I don't want to run with conspiracy theories, but I never thought about it in the way that you just laid it out right there.
Oh, I mean, it's totally, even when they reported it, I was like, this is dumb to report. Like, just put it out there that he's cleared health and safety protocols. Like, why would you ever say, hey, everyone be reassured he's submitted 8 consecutive negative tests? It's like, why would anyone get swabbed that much? It's like, I just imagine him like swabbing furiously over, come on, like, gotta get these negative tests. Like, I don't know. It's insane to me. There's something fishy there for sure.
Fishy.
For sure. Well, I'm sure that he's like, I feel fine. It's like, it's not necessarily about how you feel. Like, you got virus or you don't. Like,
so I mean, realistically, for this Christmas game, and I mean for all the games that like, well, I mean, let me look at the calendar, because Poole, when does the 10 days start? From like the day they announce it?
Well, the 10 days, like, what does the 10 days mean exactly? Because if he submits 2 negative tests, one each day, he would clear protocol, right? Or is there some degree of, if you have a positive test, you get an opportunity tomorrow, you swab again, and if that one is also positive, do they stop and say, look, you're out 10 days, like you
So
clearly
I don't
didn't
know.
have?
Do they keep testing them daily even once they test positive? Does anyone know?
Well, my guess would be that they do test daily, even if you test positive, and just keep. There's no reason not to. Just keep track of it, and then when you clear it, if you clear it 2 days in a row, be like, okay, it's run its course. Like, I hope you're okay, and
So
now you're not shedding.
They played Boston on the 17th, and it was that morning that we got the news, right?
Yeah, what's curious though is that they announced a change to the policy about daily swabbing, right?
Right.
So like whatever day Jordan Poole entered protocols, where did that line up? And I don't know the answer to this. Where did that day line up in relation to when they changed the protocols for swabbing? Because like, is there a chance that he had asymptomatic COVID like 5 days before that and he just hadn't had to take a test because he's vaccinated? And then the second they said, hey, there's a problem, we're swabbing everyone, then he came up positive. Because if that was the case, he could be
Out
6 days
soon.
down the road, right?
Right.
And then like if it's a 10-day thing where the body happens to clear this after 10 days, he could be ready. Like he could have provided a negative test today if he was on day 8 or 9 of his course of
Right.
illness. And I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, I pulled up the protocol. I can read it to you if you want.
Yeah, for sure.
It says, if a player has a confirmed positive test for COVID-19, the NBA mandates a minimum of 10 days of isolation away from his team without any physical activity. After that period, a player must undergo a cardiac screening and reconditioning in order to be cleared to return to the court.
Okay.
So
it sounds like
that's what
if
I
someone
thought it was
entered
the
protocols.
10 days.
Well, so that's another good question then. So like, let's say Poole has entered the protocol. What does it look like when they determine if you've had a false positive or not? Because like, did LeBron never entered the protocol, right? Like, they never officially said he entered the protocol, or did they tweet out?
He did, but then they tested more, which I think is available for like all players. But that's the regular perks.
I feel like if LeBron had a positive test and he challenged it, I think he should lose his timeout. Is what I think that he should lose.
I mean,
but
part of the protocol,
policy you just read is the regular policy, right? So how does the new interim policy impact that or coexist with that?
I'm not sure, but part of that original policy was that if a player who tests positive could also clear protocol by returning 2 negative Palmer, I don't know.
Okay.
So Palmer's chain reaction PCR test.
Testing, yeah.
Within a 24-hour period. So, like, I guess that's how they would do the false positive, right?
Yeah. So like every player that tests positive, there's no reason for them to not submit daily tests on the off chance that they can produce 2 negative ones in a row. Like, there's no reason to sit at home and be like, well, fuck it, I'm going to wait 10 days. And it's like, no, you're going to submit. You're going to look at the clock and be like, all right, 24 hours from now, we'll try again. And you just keep going. And if you happen to get 2 in a row, then you get to clear the protocol. But,
yeah, because Russell Westbrook, how many
I believe he was out 2 days. No, Monk. I know Monk because I was looking into this. Monk, I think only missed 2 days before he was able to like come back through the negative test. I don't remember what it was for Russ, but
he came back early too.
Yeah, Russ, it might have been 1 day. I'd have to check the timeline for.
See, that makes me feel like the whole LeBron situation's even more fishy because he like entered the protocol and then submitted tests, right? But like, like 8 negative ones, but like he didn't do a negative one every 24 hours. Like this dude swabbed his nose like 10 times in 1 day and they counted it. Like it just seems unusual. It seems unusual to me. But I don't know.
In theory, 10 days would be, if he did the full 10 days Poole, that would be December 27th. And that means it would be December 29th for Andrew Wiggins if they both had to do the full 10 days.
The thing is that they wouldn't just come back like straight after that, right? Like they'd have to go through a reconditioning period, which I was.
I don't know.
I mean, I know that like Vucevic, when he tested positive, Like he didn't come back after 10 days. Like he was out for a couple of days with reconditioning. I think
Interesting.
I
same
think
for
he had
Nick Batum.
symptoms though, and like
Yeah, that might have changed it for that.
because like
Yeah, that might
Zach,
be
I
different.
think Zach LaVine is also having symptoms because it was already announced he's not coming back before Christmas.
Mhm.
And Embiid was like the same thing, but he told us he had symptoms. So I don't
I had a
know.
hard time getting a read on what Embiid's situation was because like he kind of made a comment saying that he thought he was like it almost made it sound like he thought he was gonna die. He's like,
Yeah,
I
he
didn't think
said
I
it
was
was
gonna pull
really,
through.
really bad for him. And
But
I
then
don't
he
know.
was kind of laughing about it too when he said it. So like I couldn't tell what his tone was.
I definitely think he was out longer than 10 days though, because I remember having some Sixers fans on at the time and they said, we've heard nothing about him, you know, which makes me think it's serious and, you know, whatever. So I just think when
So
you're, because many of the players have come back like within 10 days or the 10 days. So I feel like the players that are taking longer than that, to me, that's, again, I'm speculating, but to me, that's an indication that they probably did experience some symptoms. And so they have to work their way back in a little bit.
so
Yeah.
if we've got Wiggins out till the 29th,
At worst,
that has
at a minimum.
that
that's
has him
10 days.
missing 4 games. So he'd miss Sac, Grizzlies, Suns, and the first game against the Nuggets because we play Nuggets on the 28th and then again on the 30th. That's a problem for sure. And what day does it have Poole coming back? 27.
Yeah, that would be 10 days for him.
So he'll miss 3 games if he doesn't produce tests.
And that's assuming no one else goes out. Nuggets are pretty depleted though, so they're less of a concern to me. I mean, that's just like a Jokic versus Steph thing. Both teams would be depleted.
Nuggets just re-signed Warriors Summer League legend Davon Reed. So.
Okay.
So I mean, yes. I mean, what with all these people, with these 2 guys out, what? I mean, what does Kuminga? You're gonna see him in the Suns game, then, right?
Yeah, I mean, you should get some run. I mean, they're gonna need his interior.
I hope so. This it reminds me of last year, early last year when we were like kind of going through it. Like
we had
we were
8
not,
guys.
We were not playing well, and it just felt like every game you're like, fuck, we're gonna lose. And I remember the highlight was like, but I get to see what becomes of James Wiseman. Like, even if we lose, like, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna look like? I remember specifically like tuning in to feel like, how's this guy gonna develop? Is he gonna have a highlight? Does he look like it's catching on? And then when he went down with his knee, I felt so deflated. I'm like, I don't even want to watch basketball right now. So like getting to see Kuminga play that's a highlight for me.
I don't remember, but like my memory just like it loses. I lose information so quickly. But when we played the Suns the first time this year, did GP2 get in that game and defend Booker at all?
I remember GB2 mostly playing matching up with CP3. I want to say I can pull up the matchup numbers, but that's from memory.
But I remember in the first game, well, actually we played them twice already. I keep forgetting that. So in the first game, Dre was on CP, but when they came to Golden State, well, to the Bay, he wasn't on CP anymore, right? Or am I confusing the games?
Well, I think the second game, did Wiggins start on CP because Book was out? I want to say that's what happened. Hold on, I can look up the matchup numbers and we can tell for
sure. Yeah, when we're looking at I don't have those numbers either, but I feel like feel like Perks is right. I think that the run that we saw GP2 get was primarily focused on CP3. But he only played 16 minutes that game.
Yeah,
Gary Payton only played 16 minutes, so it's not like
he also played more, didn't he? I remember that being a talking about.
No, he played 12. So she got 12 minutes in that first game. He played more in the
first half.
I mean, putting him up against CP is actually not a bad thing anyway, because he initiates everything for them.
Well, the thing was that Booker went out fast too. Like he only got 15 minutes in that game. So
And I feel
We
like he
didn't.
played most of the first half, though. No,
Yeah, well, I mean, with 15 minutes, he must have got. He probably played most of the first quarter, right? And then
he
we
definitely
didn't
played the
start.
whole first quarter, and he
Did he
played some
not?
of the second. But I thought it was most of the second
Okay,
quarter.
I have the matchups for the first game. So
Mhm.
Wiggins was the primary defender on Booker for 223 matchup minutes, and then Juan had 1 minute on him, and then
Okay.
GP2 did 54 seconds.
Okay.
So
So
it
yeah,
was
they didn't get a
mostly
lot of.
Wiggins.
But in the second game, was it?
Let me see. For CB3,
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
CP3, and I'm just curious. Like, I feel like Gary Payton is probably going to have to be utilized more in this game with some of those guys out. So I'm just
Mhm.
wondering who's it
in the
most effective to put him on, and it probably is Chris Paul still.
So I mean, in the first game, Wiggins had the most minutes against Paul defensively. He had 321, and then Draymond had 3 minutes, and GP2 had 140.
Mhm.
And then looking at the second game,
I think I like GP2 on Chris Paul more than I like him on
Booker.
Booker. I mean, it's hard to say that you don't like GP2 on anyone, right? Because he's such a dog defensively, and he's just going to make it much more difficult for anybody. But I think that Booker is such a scorer, like can create his own offense. I think there's a chance that he'd be able to elevate shots over the top of him. And so I kind of like the Wiggins matchup against him more.
So if you put Kuminga in, who is he going to be guarding?
probably
That's a good question.
probably Jay or Mikhail.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I know what it is. But Dre played, he guarded Ayton in that second game more than he did the first game, right?
Yeah, second
He-
game, Wiggins had 5 minutes defensively against Chris Paul, and
Okay.
GP2 had 222.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think Dre had more minutes on Ayton in the second game.
Yeah, Aiden had Draymond had 5 minutes against Aiden in the second game, and in the first game he had
And I remember him
4
giving
minutes.
Ayton some problems. So
yeah, I think that's an important thing to take away. Like
Yeah, he
from
was
a
2 of
game
6
planning,
against Draymond.
from a
in the second
game
game.
planning perspective, I think that it would really benefit Steve Kerr to try and match Draymond's minutes rotationally with when Ayton is in the game. I think that's going to be important because Ayton was like eating Looney's lunch. That was a tough matchup for sure. Like he was just getting whatever he wanted against Looney.
do
I
we
think those-
think,
who
do
do
we
you put
think
Looney
Steph
on?
has a good Christmas Day game?
No.
Did- Last year, did
No.
that change? Did he break it last year, or was it the Staples curse that he broke?
I want to say no, but let me double check.
He didn't break the Staples curse last year.
Steph is trash at Staples.
No,
and
but
at
he
Christmas
did
games.
for the play-in game. He was good. Braun just hit that fucking shot at the end of the game.
True.
That was a nice shot, but I don't buy that he was blind in one eye when he hit it. That's
No, I
bullshit.
don't. That was bullshit.
That
was
hilarious.
bullshit.
He saw
It's like,
three
that
rims.
was
three
theatrics.
rims.
He's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you guys still don't think Steph is gonna have a good Christmas Day game? I mean, if he can't even show up on Christmas with the half the team out, we're like,
That's true. We're in trouble. I
Oh
think that let's see the old rotation is what I want
Christmas
to
game is
see.
when we lost to the Bucks by 40.
Yeah.
Steph
I
was
mean-
6 of 17, 2 of 10 from 3. So
well, we have like 2 minutes left. So I mean, give me you guys. What is the best chance for them to win this game?
Making shots
Yes.
and not
but-
getting COVID. Clearing health and safety protocols.
Steph breaking
think-
the curse finally.
Yeah, I think Steph showing up and even being like 80% of what not even what he could be if he has a great game, but like of who he should be. If he shows up and is who he should be, and we don't get like hit with some like a lot of unexpected health and safety, like it's so hard to predict. If health and safety protocols go wild on either side, like anything can happen
Yeah.
before this game even starts, right? Like it's going to be impossible to predict. But as far as predictions, like assuming that the people we think are going to be there are going to be there, I think the key is what can we do to put a lid on Eaton, and then I think that Booker being back is because we're not going to have Wiggins, right? Like that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. Like who guards? Yeah, who does guard Booker if Wiggins is not around? I mean, do you put Kuminga after him? Would you try that for any period of time? Like,
That's
just
what I
go,
was wondering.
go
I
dog
don't think
him.
that's
Like,
right. Honestly, I wouldn't mind putting Moody on him too. Like
yeah,
Moody's been very good defensively.
Okay.
there was a lot of like talk early about how like in practice, like they've got Kuminga chasing stuff around. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that, Nat, but they're saying like in practice and scrimmages, like they'll assign Kuminga on Steph defensively, like try and not let him score.
Really?
Like,
Okay.
so it's like
I
he's
didn't
running
know that.
around. He could guard 1 through 5 theoretically. Like,
I mean, he did
I
well on
actually,
Harden of the Nets game.
yeah, I actually don't
did.
think that in limited minutes, it's the worst idea to have Kuminga even like face up against Ayton temporarily, just because he provides a verticality that Draymond is unable to, and Looney as well. Like, Ayton can turn around and shoot that little hook, and he can just go over the top because Draymond can't elevate, and neither can Looney. But like Kuminga might be able to get up enough that he forces him to alter his shot a little bit, which might lower his percentage. I don't think it's like sustainable over a whole game. I don't think that should be your game plan. But for little periods of time, if you get caught out of rotation where like Draymond like necessitates rest in a moment when Ayton is going to continue to be on the floor, I think throwing Kuminga at him in limited action isn't a horrible idea.
Better than putting Belly on Aiden.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
that's like worthless. That's automatic buckets for Phoenix.
Okay. So all for this game and for any where they're missing people, they're going to be leaning heavily on defense. So, and you just hope that Steph and Dre don't go into protocols, because without those two.
Well, yeah, it's just a wash, right? That's like
Yeah.
an auto loss if that's the case, especially if Phoenix stays healthy.
Right. All right, guys, listen, thank you. This has been a pleasure. Listen, I recorded early this week because it's the holidays. People have a lot to do. So please bear with me if so much changes before this episode drops, because like it's the landscape, everything is changing daily in the league. But I still would like to thank you too, Perks, Med. Thank you so much for all the information that you brought. You guys, I think it's impossible that anyone who listens to me is not already following this account. But if you are not, please tell them what the subreddit account is on Twitter. Give them the handle, please.
You can follow us at GSW Reddit for salary cap and spicy takes.
And a whole lot of covered stuff.
Yeah, and if you're looking for G League coverage, we're literally the only people doing it.
Yes.
Oh, and Kevin Dana.
And Jim.
Yeah, shout out to those two. But yeah, come join us at reddit.com/r/Warriors, community of Warriors fans from around the world. We've got 350,000 Claytheists strong. Come share your memes and your highlights with us, and we would love to see you there. And we talk all things Warriors.
They know their shit. Okay, guys. So happy holidays to everyone, whatever you celebrate. Please be safe. Please mask, social distance, all of that kind of stuff, guys. And I will be seeing you guys with more content after that. Follow, subscribe. You know what you need to do. Rate the show. And until next time, take care, everyone. Bye.